Now let's move on. Graham Hunter is on the line to talk to us a bit about some of the issues that are arising from the week of Champions League. And I just want to pick up on that point about... So John Duggan just made the point, Graham, that, you know, if you're Pochettino, you're within your rights to stay where you are, negotiate a great deal, and make sure you've got a good transfer kitty. But the Spurs job is now as attractive as it has ever been, and primarily because of the work that Mauricio Pochettino has done.
I think everybody is now eager to point out that when you lose two exceptionally important leader players and still stay in contact at the top of the league, go out of two cups, because it's a very short time ago that people were, I think, slagging him off about the manner of the defeat in the FA Cup, and then to punt Dortmund at a time when I think it's really important that Dortmund are missing a couple of players and are ingenues. They're new to this pressure. They're new to the stage. My tips aren't always beautiful, but I did tip them Spurs to go through this tie. I didn't think 3-0 was in prospect, but I did think that they would go through. Pochettino's work, yeah, I agree with you. He's got a very unified squad. He's made them more tactically intelligent. There are players you can point to that he's made better, but every football manager will tell you that when you get individual leader players stepping up to the margin when others are absent, and that's something that you have to doff your cap to them. Vertonghen will have rarely played as good or as an influential game as last night. Others contributed. I heard your debate, you and Owen, about Llorente, who across his career, although he's been less than highly visible at Spurs, has been able to do what he did last night. Maybe not Harry Kane level, but he does intervene. He took Athletic to the final of the Europa League with a wonderful goal against Sporting in the semi-final. Dotted across his career, he's done it for Spain as well in Juventus. So, yeah, I do laud Pochettino, but I think what we saw last night was a slight combination of circumstances where a very unified, very motivated Spurs found a Dortmund who, if you look at the last couple of weeks, the way in which they've tossed away leads, the way that Alcacer and Royce were both missing, if you look at the way in which they were knocked out of the cup, generally I think that their timing was perfect for Spurs last night, and my admiration goes up because they took advantage.
Okay, so the other aspect of the Pochettino stakes at the moment is potentially Real Madrid. I don't know how likely or otherwise that is, but again, the point that John was making, like if you're Pochettino, you're looking at what goes on at Real Madrid. Zinedine Zidane wins Champions League after Champions League, and there was constant talk about getting rid of him. So, like, do you look at that and go, well, I have to take that job because it only comes around every 18 months or so? I don't know.
Whoa. No, Zidane walked away. There wasn't anybody talking about getting rid of him. His performance was exceptional. And the thing that Pochettino will be looking at, Ger, are the words that Zidane used. Look, just after Zidane left, Poch was at a wedding where Jose Angel Sanchez was and Florentino Perez was. It took place in Madrid. And they told him, listen, if you hadn't renewed your deal without a buyout clause, we'd have come and got you. You'd be the Real Madrid manager this summer, i.e. last summer, 2018. What Pochettino's level of desire is to stay or go, I can only estimate. I don't know for sure. What he must know is that with the new stadium, with the degree to which there are suitors for Eriksen, it's not simply about whether he can get more money in his contract or a larger term of tenure to feel more secure. It is going to be about renewal. It is vital that if Spurs want to break through and say our minimum objective is the quarterfinal of the Champions League, our minimum objective is top four, now it's time to win a trophy, League Cup, FA Cup, League, be it what it may. At that point, as well as he's performing now, he does need elite level players recruited. He does need some of his current players being rewarded with salaries that they know they can get elsewhere. That's a conversation with Daniel Levy that he wouldn't have to have with Florentino Perez, because Florentino Perez is a boom and bust president. He will want to invest this summer because the squad requires it, albeit that the squad at Real Madrid now looks to have more equilibrium, more dynamism, more promising youth than it did, even in the reign of Julian Lopetegui, which began last July.
Yeah, okay, so what is likely to happen at Real Madrid then?
I don't know, Ger. I'd be a liar if I said it did, because Solari is doing that most wonderful thing. Like YouTube, if this was a YouTube video, it'd be a cruiser heading towards the rocks, and everybody's screaming and holding their head, and then suddenly the cruiser with a new captain on board has its path averted and is going to dock beautifully. Because he solved problems consistently, treated Marcelo and Isco the way that they needed to be treated. Isco was a surprise to me. Marcelo was overdue. His promotion of Reguilón and Llorente, and particularly Vinicius, now seems visionary. But his tapping on the shoulder of Antonio Pintus, the fitness coach, and saying to him, rid the cobwebs from the World Cup players, get them in shape, get them dynamic, get them ready for February, March, has worked absolutely brilliantly. Real Madrid are a very, very good watch at the moment. They're thorny. They're as hard to put down as Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool and Bayern Munich and Juventus found during those runs to win the Champions League. I fully admit that at the beginning of the season, I didn't think this was a squad which could remain unsated enough, hungry enough, and without Cristiano Ronaldo's goals to win the Champions League for a fourth consecutive time. I don't think they're favourites to win it yet, but I'm having to change my view. They're in brilliant shape. They're playing with elan and flair and self-belief. The big guns are firing. There are players to come back who will be important. It's a really as disastrous, as comical, as keystone as the late summer, early autumn was under Lopetegui. It is now interesting, convincing, thrilling, and whether he gets the job or not, Solari is making one hell of a case that he should be the new Zidane and that he should be retained.
Yeah, one of the big stories this week as well, Graham, has been Paris Saint-Germain's performance against Manchester United, and the very simplistic view, perhaps, that Paris Saint-Germain are perhaps just a more effective team when Neymar is absent. As I say, it is quite a simplistic view. Is there any truth in this?
I think if you ask people who are at the Parc des Princes or on the away trips with PSG each week, they won't answer yes to that question. They will say that it has been an interesting process to watch Mbappe when he's playing with his two fellow strikers. I think Cavani's pedigree and Cavani's team play and leadership is not in question. That's natural to him. Neymar adds magic, adds filigree, adds goals that aren't just decorative. He wins games. Paris Saint-Germain are undoubtedly a different side. But rather than looking at Neymar solely and his absence, Mbappe's maturity in that performance is slightly different from when he feels he has to either outperform Neymar or when Neymar's absent, he has to do two jobs. So Mbappe, number one, apart from the thrilling nature of his performance, showed a maturity which he doesn't always show, and at his age, how could he, every week? But above and beyond that, I think, certainly when I've been watching the modern Paris Saint-Germain, I saw a display, and as disappointed as I was in Manchester United, who I thought could win that title at Old Trafford, I genuinely believed that. I was wrong. I was taken by surprise. That was a Paris Saint-Germain performance against a decent rival in an away ground where I saw more of their players hit a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 level than I think I've seen in the modern project since the petrodollars came into the club. I thought it was almost error-free, ruthless. They were convinced. They played as a unit. I don't think that it was because Neymar wasn't there and therefore they took away a lazy, sloppy element, which I think is the debate you're referring to. I think I saw leader players going, well, two big players aren't there. We'll go and win this now.
Okay, good stuff, Graham. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Cheers.